Welcome to today's episode of TransformHer, the show where we ignite audacity and break barriers, equipping African women on their journey to the C-suite or in entrepreneurship with practical insights and tangible resources that can help them on that journey. Today, we're looking at a very important topic of structure. Yes, why is it important to build structure in your business, and how do you go about building structure? We'll be right back after this very short break. Welcome back. Today's episode is titled Building a Solid Foundation, Structuring Small Businesses for Sustainable Growth. And I have just the right person to talk to about structure. Her name is Ayodeji-Oni, and I like to call her the structure expert. Oni, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yes. So this thing about structure, I remember our conversation where I was bearing my all to you and talking about how I had failed repeatedly in business. And you shared with me when it dawned on you or when the penny dropped. And suffice it to say that the difference between businesses that actually scale and sustain operations and those that don't fundamentally is structure.
Yeah.
And I know you have a lot to tell us on your journey. So I want you to talk us through your journey. What brought you to, I forget to tell you, how did I find Oni? I was on Instagram one day and I was scrolling and I found this lady who called herself the Business Structure Girl. And she had a book, an ebook titled Unscrambled. So I took a chance, and needless to say, I canceled my meetings for the rest of the day and read through that entire book. And even though she tagged it Unscrambled, structure for one-man business, or it applied to even me. So Onyi, take us on that journey.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So for me, the journey of business structure is a very personal one. I remember my mom had a business way back. I was about 8 or 9, but I continued to see her practically struggle to run the business. And every time there was one issue or another. And at about 9 years old, I figured I could never own a business if this is really what people that own businesses have to go through. However, fast forward to pharmacy school, I came across another business that everybody was talking about. Everybody wanted to work there. Everybody wanted to do different things there. And so when it was time to go for my industrial training at the time, I also applied and then I got in. And I was so shocked because even as an IT student, I was going to be there for 3 months. I was put through an onboarding process. Yeah. And the founder of the business was talking about her vision for the business, how the business started. And I was intrigued. By the time I got onto the shop floor, it was a beautiful experience. It was multiple branches at the time, and someone could come from another branch to our branch and just fit in. They didn't have to call the owner of the business for anything. They didn't have to, run around. And I was like, okay, this is different. And so because of that, I took an interest in what did they do that made their business different from my mother's. It was the same pharmacy, but this was a totally different ball game. And that was where my journey started. And so I started to look at, okay, we had SOPs, so maybe it's the SOP. We had this, so maybe it's that. And then I realized that all of those things coming together is actually what people would term as business structure, right? And so that was where the journey started. I worked with a number of people, just informally helping them here and there. And I realized that even though many people wanted me to work with them to structure their businesses, is it that they didn't have the time, or our timing could not work together, or they really were not just ready to make that financial commitment because they're not sure if it will work or not. And so I decided to write a book. Funny thing, I had written a book before Unscrambled.
Wow. And
that is called Dear Business Owner. I wrote that book, but I realized that it didn't fit for the majority of business owners in Nigeria, because of course in my research I realized that most people run their businesses as one-man shows. And while the other book was talking about how to work with your team and how to do a lot of things, one-man businesses will not be able to relate. And so I wrote Unscrambled. In fact, I actually just wrote Unscrambled from my personal experience, because I work 9 to 5, but I also run a business.
Oh, wow.
So I wrote Unscrambled from what I do, how I've come about doing these things. And the funny thing is, Unscrambled has been a hit, even more than the first book.
Smash hit.
And I realized that many people were in that space.
Okay.
Many people were in that space where they were not quite sure. What am I doing? Is it a business? Is it a hobby? Am I ever going to come out of this? Will I just shut it down? And so Unscrambled came and helped people answer a lot of questions.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And so, Oyi, that is where I want to dwell.
Okay.
A lot of people, sadly, have not grown past one-man show in Nigeria. And I hear a lot of excuses. I hear capital. I hear I can't afford it. Oh, and there's something Oyi said before she answers this question on one-man show. She said that she tried to engage a few people to help them, organize, structure, build, their businesses, and that some people didn't have time, but others did not want to commit the resource that it'll take to help to develop structure. If you are not willing to invest in your business, it will never grow. People are the measure of organizations, and it starts with you as the leader. So I want to, unpack. Let's dive deeper into this. I run a one-man business. Where do I even begin? So for those who do not know Unscrambled, I'll tell you Oyin's Instagram handle so you can go there and read the book. But for those who don't know Unscrambled, when you talk us through this process. So I just come to you now and I say, help.
All right. So for me, just like when I went to that pharmacy, my first question is usually, so what is your vision for the business? Because while I understand that people can be doing the same thing, they're doing it for different reasons and they want to achieve different things. And I realize that many business owners do not actually understand, why do I need a vision? I'm just selling this or selling that. But what I've been able to, talk to people about is the reason why you need a vision, first of all, before any other thing, is that helps you know what to put as the foundation. If you want to become a business that is all over the world, you will not create a foundation for a business that just wants to be in a local government.
Right.
So you need to understand, what's your plan? You are not there yet, we know, but what do you think wildly the business is going to be? And from the vision, we start to bring about, okay, this is what your team should be like. This is what your org structure should be like. When you make money, this is how much to put apart to grow the business. This is how much you can spend on operations. And then that's how we start to bring it apart. Because at the end of the day, if the vision is not clear, you can't go, and then just say that you're not even sure, am I reaching where I want to be when there's nowhere, right? So the first thing I would ask any business owner to do is to actually sit down and develop what the vision for the business is. From there, you can take the steps.
Well, fantastic. I like this. There's something you said, Oyi, that I really liked. You said the kind of business or the kind of vision you have will help you determine, for instance, when you start making money, what sort of money can you put aside? Can you even talk us through putting money aside? And there's a reason I say this, for scaling upwards. Okay,
so the usual thing, or the very common thing for a lot of business owners, is the money of the business is for them. That's how they view it. But to be honest, for a business to grow, you need to understand a lot of fundamental things about your business finances. First of all, is that your business money is not your money. Even if you are doing all the work alone at this time, your business money is not your money. So at the very least, you should be able to pay yourself a salary. Now, from what you're making, determine how much you want to pay yourself as a business owner. You can say, oh, the amount I can afford to pay myself from this business cannot sustain me, and I usually will respond to that. Then make more so that you can pay yourself more, right? But for whatever purpose, you need to understand that for a business, you need to, whether it's a share of the profit or the total profit, depending on if you have another source of income, should be put back into growing the business. For example, if you maybe do graphic design, you have one laptop, you want to be able to buy another laptop in a number of months, you know how much that will cost. So you start putting money together for that. You want to do maybe more fancy softwares for your work, you put money towards that. You want to take a course that will help you do better or maybe charge better, you put money aside for that. And as you're putting money aside for that, investing in the business, there's also some, might not be little, might be little, but put some money apart for profit. So maybe at the end of the year, you could do some party or profit share for yourself just to feel like, okay, this business is going somewhere. But at least divide the money into your operating cost, into your profit, into salaries, and then of course, maybe into profit share or whatever at the end of the year.
Pay yourself a salary and separate accounts. There's still so much more to speak to Onyi about, and we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how to demarcate or, set aside money in business and just have monies for different things and functions in business. But Onyi, I must tell you, I have been there, you have been there, and I want us to share practical insights. I don't want us to just talk, over people's heads. African businesses, African female-led businesses have challenges with structure and scale. What are some of those challenges personally that you have faced or that your clients have faced? And, just tell us how you've managed to overcome or give advice as to overcoming those challenges.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is the mindset, right? For a lot of business owners, they think that their business is too small to structure. It's just this business. It's just this store. It's just me. It's just two of us. And so I really don't need to structure. And then they get to a point where it's now almost so difficult when they started to grow. And I use the example of people whose maybe grandparents had businesses, and it was great, right? Until grandma passed. And then in 3 months, everything has disappeared because that structure wasn't there. So it's very important that as an African business owner, more so female, you don't think that your business is too small to structure. The point is the structure you put at that stage might be different, but you need to put some things in place. Even if it's as simple as automating some tasks or outsourcing some of them, it's important that you start to take those steps early. What also happens is that if you take the steps early enough, by the time you start to expand, everybody eases into the structure. You don't have to start, correcting the first set of employees you have because they came and they met that. So it's just normal for them to work through it. Another thing as a business owner is, female business owner now, is being sentimental with their businesses. That person is my mommy's whatever. That person is my first staff. He's being unruly, but I cannot really enforce my disciplinary policy. My auntie is the one that ordered this thing and I can't really enforce my payment policy. And at the end of the day, the business is going to crumble because the auntie would not pay you as due and when due, right? The staff who is being unruly would contaminate other people or even do something even more difficult for your business. So as much as possible, while yes, you are being humane, you are being nice or kind as a business owner, you also need to know that you are taking sentiments out of the business.
Okay.
Allow the business to go through what it's supposed to go through. So if you own a business and your auntie wants to buy something, if you have a person at the other end of your customer service line, gently direct your auntie there. If she comes again, direct her there. By the third time, she will go there directly so that you are easing yourself of the stress of dealing with things that are unnecessary. Another thing is that a lot of business owners seem to think that they're doing well because they're making money. I tell people that profit is not the only thing that helps you know that you are, running a great business. Shut down and say, I'm going out. That's if you have a team now. Or say, oh, I'm not available for this. Is this business still alive or not? Right? For a lot of people, even though they own businesses, you can flip it and say the business owns them. And so even if they are away, their phones must be with them. They cannot properly function because they are making money, but they don't have that peace of mind to actually do other things in the business. So I would say, as much as possible, yes, make money, but put some things in place which is structured to ensure that the money you make, you can actually spend it.
This is powerful. Oyin, let me tell you what we do on this program. When I started introducing, I said that this is the show where we ignite audacity, we break barriers, and we provide practical insight and resources. So along the way, let me thank you. I'll still thank you at the end, but this is powerful.
Thank you.
Ladies, so what I'm about to do is tell the ladies or unpack what it is you've said. We asked Oyin what the challenges are to structuring a business. She started with one, mindset. I don't know if you remember the episode on finance, ladies. The first thing that the coach said to us is mindset. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at actually change. If you change your mindset from I'm a one-man business, what's all this structure? I'm just running my business. So some people believe that once they have a corporate bank account, it is structure. Oyin now hit us with an even stronger, how do they say it in Nigeria? Making money is not the same as business growth. You may be making all the money and losing your health to the point that you will never be able to enjoy the money. So making money and putting things in place that will ensure longevity even for your life and the business and wellness. Only somebody who is well can do well. Then Oyin spoke about the most important one that affects women, sentiments. You see what she said about the auntie? If your auntie comes, send her to customer service. If she comes again, send her to customer service. By the third or fourth time, she will move. But there are people who will complain and knock your house down. You have to develop thick skin. She also spoke about sentiments in terms of particularly staff. And it's quite an African thing, wouldn't you say, Oyin, where you say, my mother's sister's brother's uncle's daughter's son works for me. She's badly behaved, but if you continue to condone toxicity, it will eventually swallow your entire business operations. And then you're not helping the person get any better. I say this, people are the measure of organizations. Your desks and chairs do not make up your organization. Your people do. And so the policies that you put in place are very, very important. And you must stick to the policies and rules. You cannot, as a business owner with a clear vision, craft policies that you yourself will break. You also have to let your staff understand that no person is indispensable. There's such a thing as an invaluable staff, and we appreciate them, but there's no such thing as an indispensable staff. If somebody passes away on Friday, and it is a large business, that person will be replaced by Monday morning. The structure is already in place to accommodate that. Yeah. So business owners of small businesses, please take note. Oyin, I want your advice now. I want you to give a charge to small business owners. Tell them, what practical strategies and tools do you recommend? And for up-and-coming entrepreneurs. So today is my first day, Oyin. What's my first step?
Okay, so I would normally say start. Just start, right? So if you don't have the money yet to employ someone to structure your business, then you'll have the time, right?
Right.
So today is your first day of starting a business. Get your vision right. When your vision is right, then you start to think about doing the brain work of what the business should look like. If I'm going to expand across Nigeria, that means that maybe in year 2, I need to have sales reps all over the country. So how do I do that? Then you start from there. Okay, what is the organizational structure going to look like in that time? And you start to put that in place. What are your goals? I recommend documenting your goals, and not just financial goals. That's one of the things I say. there are different areas that you need to have goals for in your business, and which is another mistake that business owners make, is they actually only have financial goals. So as long as I make this money, I'm fine. But you need to have, goals for your marketing, goals for other areas of your business, goals for just growth generally. So look at your goals and start to take steps towards them. And another thing I will say, which I think is one of the things I tell business owners, is there's not going to be the perfect time to start structuring your business. Just start. If you start and say that, okay, my policy feels wonky, then you can edit it and, work around it. But that, I don't have the software yet, so I can't create a policy, or I can't create a SOP before the software. No, create the SOP for your now manual process. When the software comes, create a version 2. When you go into a bigger space, create a version 3. Just start.
Wow.
It is in starting that you see the difference it's going to make, and then the things you need to do better. So my advice to anybody working in a business or about to start a business is, don't delay structuring your business. Just start.
Wow, I love it. I could speak to Oyin the whole day. What's your Instagram handle?
At the Business Structure Girl.
At the Business Structure Girl. Fly there and go and get unscrambled. It did magic for me. But we have to unpack, as I like to say, some things. Document your goals, and goals are beyond simply financial. Every aspect of your business should have a goal. Oyin also says that there is absolutely no perfect time to start a business. Wow. Whew. This has been, I said this is one of, if not the best episode. Other guests, don't bash me for that. But I like how practical this has been, and I like all that you have unpacked. And as I say, I want to bring everybody back a second time. So after people have read Unscrambled and they come back to me with questions, Oyin, promise to come back?
Promise.
Okay, Oyin has promised to come back. It's been a most insightful episode today on TransformHer. Until next time, please stay tuned for our next segment, which is our coaching segment. Welcome to today's coaching episode on TransformHer. Still on the topic of timeliness as an attribute for leadership excellence. Today, we're going to look at the results of being an untimely leader, or better put, tardiness. Now, we're going to be looking at the dangers of tardiness in leadership. There are 3 main things that tardiness does to leadership. The first is it has a great and devastating impact on team morale. Secondly, it erodes trust and credibility. And finally, you miss a lot of opportunities for growth, and worse still, damaged reputation as a leader. Like I said in the last episode, any leader who goes late to work is sure to introduce a culture of lateness, as people are just going to gauge, see when the leader comes, or note the time range. So if resumption time is 8 a.m. and this leader shows up at 9:30 or 10 every day, people are sure to come in at 8:30 or 8:45, just before they presume that the leader will come. So let's look at each of these 3 things. Impact on team morale. A leader who is not timely undermines his team morale. That leader sends a message of disrespect and a lack of consideration for his team members and even himself. Finally, it decreases motivation and engagement amongst team members. Because when people are not timely, what tends to happen is lethargy is introduced, and it dampens team morale and overall team productivity and performance. Secondly, it erodes trust and credibility. So when somebody gives you their word and cannot keep to their word, starting with keeping to time, you begin to distrust the person and do not gauge or consider that person a credible leader. Secondly, it undermines reliability. How can you rely on somebody who does not even respect time? Finally, it leads to skepticism amongst team members. They begin to doubt their leader, and you cannot influence or wield appropriate influence that you need for effective leadership when you are a leader who does not keep to time. And then you miss opportunities and gain a damaged or ruined reputation. So it leads to missed opportunities, your reputation is damaged, and ultimately it leads to a loss of respect. And how can you hope to influence a team effectively if they do not respect you? Tardiness leads to a lack of integrity, disrespect. It shows that you are indisciplined, that you are unplanned. It undermines your authority as a leader. It creates a negative look and a very toxic work culture. And so leaders, this notion of African time, as I said in the last episode, should be non-existent in your book. Are you on time? Are you planned? Are you reliable? Can I hold you to your word? Timeliness is a very important attribute for excellence in leadership. Until next episode, thank you.